Unsyndicated presents Off the Air with Sean Baligian.
What is up? Glad you can join us. My name is Sean. Hi. Todd, for whatever reason, the damn link didn't come up again. It's so weird. I can never, ever figure that out. But God bless you, and let's keep hope alive. Maybe I can do this. Let's see. I can do this, and then let's see if I can share it like this. I'll figure this out one day. How's this? College football just because. How's that? What's up, Sean? Been a while. Hi, Eric. College football just because. Todd, not that people like me pay attention to things like this, but it's 60 days until week 0. Not that people like me pay attention to things like that. David said 6 months it will be Christmas Eve. I think I've told you guys, like, that's legitimately like my favorite day of the year. Like, it's just an awesome day. And, it's one of those things that, the family together, and in recent years, it's turned into, I have no other way to say this. It's a drunk fest. No, really, it's just, everybody just comes over and I was like, all right, let's do what we need to do. Right. And Todd, you're going to figure this out pretty soon with your kids. Somehow, some way, a bunch of the kids' friends just started showing up at like 11:30 at night. And that's been the way it has been for years now. Like, they just show up and they just hang out. And yeah, so all good. Yeah, the Tigers are in a rain delay right now. So I'm not lying, you guys. And I know the draft is coming up. And for you basketball fans, the season just ended and everything. And I like the NHL draft. I was very fortunate, for many, many years to call the games where so many of these guys played and everything. I'm in college football mode right now. I know I shouldn't be saying that, especially with like the Tigers going on. I know that's like, of course, I both things can be true. I can be very excited about what the Tigers are doing. And at the same time, I can also sit back and say, I yearn for college football. I just do. And listen, I know everybody's excited about the Lions. I'm excited too. I've never hid this. College football just hits me different, man. Just hits me different. I don't quite know how to put my finger on it. That's just, I would say I remember I did this poll when I was working at the Fan in maybe 2000 or 2001, right? And it was a simple question before, a couple weeks before the season started. Death not an option. Pick one, NFL or college. And it was funny because I'll just speak for me. Back then, it was like this. It really was. It was like this. And it's gone like this over the years. See my fingers? See how they're getting wider and wider and wider and wider? Now, it's not monstrous per se, but it's wide. It is. And I think back then, I remember the first year we did that silly bit. College football won like every year. And I think if I did it today, there'd probably be more NFL people because of the success of the Lions. And like, for me, I don't care. To each their own, man, to each their own, whatever. I like when people get, I always say this, like NBA fans and NHL fans, like for some reason, somebody thought many years ago, it'd be cool to take shots at each other. Like, that's always been my mentality. Like, seriously? Your ratings are worse than Andy Griffith. Oh, man. I better stop watching. Man, I was really starting to like this hockey stuff. I guess I got to stop watching now, you know? It's so silly. All right, let's look at some. I wrote down a bunch of over-unders for whatever it's worth, especially with like the Tigers being in the rain delay. Like I knew it was going to be in a delay. It was like, okay, cool. What do we need to do? All right, I am going to look at some of the comments. So sorry, I've been bullshitting with myself. Your name is Shauner. Hi, friend. Hi, Jason. You are my friend. College football just because natty champs. Eric, help me out there. What does that mean? College football just because of natty champs? I don't know what you mean there. Are you the national championship game? I mean, the Colin, you know, the NFL has something like that with the Super Bowl. Shauner just wants to take an old man walk to the cider mill. Absolutely. No. So my daughter and I took an old man walk shortly before we started this debacle, and it was funny. That's what I was saying to her. Now, for her, she'll already be back at school. She'll already be back at state. So she misses that glorious day of where the two worlds come together. You know, when week 0 and my cider mill opening, one of the greatest days of the year, man. Good evening, Tom in London. College football just because we own Ohio State. Yeah, it's pretty hard to argue that. I mean, Michigan's had a pretty good run, 21, 22, 23, 24. That's a pretty good run, but that's why you pick college football? Okay. Tom says college football. College football is better than any draft. Bam. Chris, amen. Even at the height, I'm telling you right now, Chris, even at the height of me, there were a few seasons, if you guys, not that you've quote unquote followed my career, but there were a few seasons where I was very fortunate where I could do a Whalers game on a Friday and then go to East Lansing and do the Spartan game on a Saturday, or vice versa. Okay. So I saw all the OHL kids. I saw a lot of the college kids and you know, guys from the Western Hockey League or Quebec Major. I got a chance to see them with my stupid CHL pass and in particular World Juniors. I knew just about every one of these kids. I could definitively tell you, like, no joke, I could definitively tell you that I saw a vast majority of them at least one time. And even when the couple of years that I did NTDP, that was when there were a few days I remember where like there was like an afternoon game and it was like I could go blow up to state and do the games up there. Same thing, right? It still doesn't replicate game day. It just doesn't. So the great Boston Bruin, I don't know if you guys have ever heard this. The great Boston Bruin, notorious bad boy, Derek Sanderson, always used to talk about his favorite place, and it was Montreal. And the great Don Cherry always said there's something about being on St. Catherine Street on a Saturday night. And you guys know me. I'm not going to argue that. There's something about being on campus on a Saturday morning. There just is. And I'm serious. I when I say this, almost any campus. Because I got that when I was doing Toledo football, it didn't matter if we were in Oxford or Athens or Wood County at Bowling Green or at Venerable Glass Bowl. And the same thing with the GLIAC. Man, are you kidding me? You're on campus on a Saturday. There's just something different in the air, man. Especially when you go to a place that has, you know, the tailgating and everything. There's just something different in the air. Can't put my finger on it. It just is. And when I say, I mean anywhere. Even the quote unquote schools that you hate. Are you kidding me? Ann Arbor's awesome. I'd tell anybody that. You guys know what side of the fence I'm on. Ann Arbor's awesome. I love going to Ann Arbor. Fantastic. I tell people this all the time. Go to Notre Dame. I don't care what your feelings about Notre Dame are. Means nothing. Go to Notre Dame. That game day experience, walk down to the grotto, walk all around the stadium, see all the statues and everything. It's phenomenal. It's fantastic. I'm with you there, Sean. I'll watch college football all day and find myself just drifting out and changing the channel when an NFL game does nothing for me. You got it. Now, Jason, you know what? In the interest of being fair, I'll speak for me. A lot of times what I can do on a college football Saturday, like if the 3:30 game is crap, you know as well as I do, there are 10 different games we could turn on at any given time. You know, some of those Saturday afternoons where, like, okay, America's game of the week or whatever Fox calls it, this is a dud. And there's only 2 other games right now and they're crap. You know what I mean? That's the one thing that I think college football has on them. You'll find a game. You know what I mean? Sometimes in the NFL, there's just no other game on. So you just go, all right, whatever. I guess I'm waiting until 8:20 tonight or whatever the hell it is. Eric, I just said that because I thought that was the topic. What part? The natty? The college football's better because of the natty? I'm sorry. College football experience is something else. I missed last night with Shep, but I listened to it while hand mowing my lawn, my hand watering. Absolutely. I do it. Sean Sparty can party. I got to say that. It's fantastic. Like it is. It's fantastic. It's a great, and I'm not, you know me, man. I'm not trying to kiss anybody's butt. Going to Ann Arbor is tremendous. And as Jason said, if you go to Columbus with a Michigan license plate, just know you'll be getting pulled over. There's a good chance. I've said this for years, and some of my friends who are Buckeye fans have added to this. It would be in your best interest to go in a group. It would. If you're going down, especially as a Michigan fan, if you're going down as a Michigan fan, it would be in your best interest to go in a group. I'm not being... Todd, you're a Michigan fan, right? Let's say one of your boys. Yep, he's already shaking his head. No. If you're in a group, great. And do you know what people do? People hear that and they like legitimately think you're being funny. Okay. I think you're asking for trouble. I've seen it down there. I have no other way to say it. Who will be this year's Indiana? More on that in a second. You're reading my mind, Raymond. I'm going to do some over-unders in a second. Got U of M student tickets parked at a business on South Industrial, paid $20, and the owner of the lot made chilies and rolls and a water. It was well worth the $20. Fantastic. There are so many good spots. See, Todd, you know what a weasel I was? So Kristen was in a sorority back in the day. This is like 93, 94. I don't remember. All the years run together now. And they would have these wild parties that started the night before. So you know what I do? I was the vulture. I would show up late. On a Saturday morning because if you guys know me, I love my booze, but not on game day. Not on game day. I'm going to watch a game. I don't want to black out. I don't want to get sick. I'm watching a frippin' game. I'm not going to swear. So you know what I do, Todd? I knew within 15 minutes there'd be some dude who's puking out his nose. You know, he's like one of the infected from 28 days later. His eyes are all beet red and everything. He's got the rage virus. He can't use his tickets. I vulture in, take his tickets, and go to the game for free. I'm sorry to bring this up to you guys. The Cordell Stewart to Westbrook game. I got in for free. I sat next to 3 dudes. I had no idea who they were. It didn't matter. It was college football, man. It's college football. Oh, Kerry Bonds went deep. I'd like to see that. That's nice because he's been struggling so much. Tom, the whiteout at Penn State is something else, just the noise of the fans. That's a really cool place. There's no easy way to get there. It's kind of tucked in the mountains, and there's one way in and one way out. And Eric said you said at the beginning of the show college football because, and I just said the Natty Champions. So you like college football because of the Natty Champions. Okay. Okay. Like any particular Natty Champions or just the Natty Champions? Like every year? Okay. How long before we go back to the 80s where teams from Texas are back with all that oil money and now it's legal to pay kids? Good question. I think we're going through that in a whole bunch of, I mean, Ray, I'll go to the world of college hockey. All right. Gavin McKenna, who, I know who I'm talking to, Ray. In all likelihood, he'll be the number one pick next year. Allegedly, he is down to Penn State and Michigan State. Now, I'm not detracting from Penn State in any way, shape, or form. Penn State got hot at the right time, had a magnificent run in the tournament, right? Michigan State's been pretty good the last couple of years. Number one, a lot during the course of the season. I would be surprised if Michigan State got him. I would be. Why? Terry Pagula money. The owner of the Buffalo Sabres, the owner of the Buffalo Bills. The rink that the Nittany Lions play in on campus is named Pagula Arena. Is somebody in the Michigan State family going to match that kind of money? Where's Matt Ishbia when you need him? So I think it's a good point, Ray. I still don't think you're going to be in a position where you can make super teams. And do you know what it reminds me of, if I may be so bold? And I don't know if there is one human being that could argue this with me ever again. And I'm serious when I say this. Do you know what it reminds me of? All the recruiting grade conversations we had 12, 13 years ago. Do you remember that? And oh my gosh, Michigan fans hated my guts. Not all of them, by the way. Shout out to Jason. You had Brady Hoke as your coach. So you can have all these wonderful 4 and 5 stars and be ranked 4th in the nation or 6th in the nation or 7th in the nation. You have a coach who more often than not was going to be out-coached. And out of all those guys, I mean, think of all those can't-miss guys who barely got on the field. I still think that dynamic exists. I don't think that dynamic exists. I know that dynamic exists. And the funny thing about it is, you know when Michigan got really good? When the recruiting grades went like that. Not like this, like that. It's amazing how that works out, isn't it? I should probably mix in a read, Todd. See what happens. Everybody else starts getting excited about college football, and we have conversations like this. Love West Coast college games at 1 a.m. Amen. Chris, I don't know about you. I have certain buddies who we text each other like every Saturday because I know that they're up. Does that make sense? Like dudes that like I'll use Todd as an example. I might not hit Todd up all day, okay? But I know if I'm sitting at home watching that Oregon State game, Todd is too. I know that Neil Rule, my buddy from Woodward Sports, is watching Hawaii. I know that. There's no doubt in my mind. I know that. So I can fire a text off, and he's going to text me back within like 5 seconds. I think it's fantastic. Don't sleep at those tailgate parties at Rynearson Stadium. Every attendee counts as 10 to maintain T1 status. So, Todd, gosh damn it. Let me do a read. I want to go. Give me a second, okay? Just give me a second. I want to bring something up, okay? Along those lines, all right? One of the funnest falls I've ever had. Like seriously, I'm not joking. But first, let me pull up a read. How about we do this one? All About Catering LLC, full service caterer, graduation season. If you found somebody, they're going to take care of you. Wedding, bridal shower, corporate event, anything you need catering for, from 25 to 4,000 people. Rick and his staff at All About Catering will take care of you. They've done multiple gigs for us. Customer service and satisfaction is their number one goal. So don't sweat your next big event. Just go to allaboutcateringllc.com today to see all their menus and all their 5-star reviews, or give them a call, 586-731-1398 to get your event started. Todd, 2 stories. You guys have no reason to remember this. Many years ago, it was 1993. It was Michigan State. Eastern and Temple was on very early in the season. And believe it or not, it was the first time that 2 African-American coaches were going up against one another. And it was a Thursday night game. And everybody was excited. And Rynearson Stadium was going to be packed and everything. And my buddies and I are like, let's drive over, because it's not far away. Let's drive over and do the obligatory, douchebag routine of walking in shirtless with ESPN. And I was the S. And we're all walking around doing this, flexing, moving, flexing the pecs and everything. Look at that. Oh, yeah, aren't I cool? A torrential downpour. And when I say a torrential downpour, it was insane. Okay? Insane. Didn't even make it in the stadium. I think 11 people made it into the stadium, to be honest with you. I mean, it was absolutely brutal. But in the fall of 2008, that was a fall where I was between gigs type of stuff. I had the hockey stuff going on, but I wasn't doing any football at the time. And that particular fall, I went to a different campus every Saturday. One week I might go with friends. Week I might go with Chris. I took Jack a few different times. And we went to Western. We went to Eastern. We went to a Grand Valley game. This is before I worked in the GLIAC, mind you. We went to Indiana. We went to Michigan. We saw a couple, of course, at Michigan State. We went to Notre Dame, and we went to Eastern. And my son loved it at Eastern. And I think the reason he loved it at Eastern is it wasn't the crazy noise and 10,000 people there. But he loved it. I mean, absolutely loved it. Ray said, now you can pay the kids. Will team who used to cheat, it won't be the same because everybody is on the same level. Well, again, I mean, coaching counts. And some of the kids that you pay, the 5 stars, I mean, it's not going to work. So, I mean, yes, of course, there's an advantage for the teams that pay. But I think much like the silly recruiting grade arguments, it doesn't guarantee you anything, It doesn't. Oh, Eric, just finishing the sentence. Natty champs. So let me try to finish this sentence. I'll try to make sense of it. Which do you like better? NFL or college football? I like college football because the Natty champs, Michigan. Well, they're not the national champs, but other than that, who am I to argue with your logic? That's cool. Michigan is the biggest stadium, but seems to be the quietest stadium. Why can't it be like the schools from the SEC and be hard stadium to play in? There are too many blue bloods there. I think the most diehard Michigan fan would admit that. I have said this for years, and I will continue to say it. You guys, you don't understand the fervor and the rabid fans in SEC. You don't. And it's funny, Todd, people get mad at me when I say that. And then then my follow-up question always is, have you been down there? No. Okay, cool. It's just different, man. It's just different. It's different. I have no other way to say it. It is different. Every SEC venue that I went to, even Vanderbilt, it's just different. Ohio State is close. I think Wisconsin, like for jump around, that was like weird because it felt like the whole stadium was moving, and it probably was. They're just different down there. But I agree. I think any Michigan fan would agree with you, right? Yeah. As cool as that place is, as awe-inspiring as that place is, especially built into the ground, if you're talking about a crazy 110,000 in there, no. There's a good portion of it that are crazy, dudes like you and me that are, there for the right reasons, but there are too many blue bloods that are there because they're supposed to be there, if that makes sense. Okay. All right, Eric, I'm lost. I'm pretty as that memory eats away at me. Stewart threw that pass 140 yards, knock it down, winners. It was Jason. It was the weirdest. I'm telling you, that was in the thing. The thing that I remember about it is how silent the stadium got, except for like the Colorado section. Like, it was weird. It sounded like it was a million miles away too. There was just kind of like this dull roar. Sorry, I don't mean to bring that bad memories up for you guys. One of the top 4 losses I have witnessed as a Michigan fan, along with the clock game, App State, and October 17th, 2015. Yeah. People, the trouble with the snap game, I'll be the first guy to say it. Man, it was a lucky play. It's like people tried to turn that into something it wasn't. They got a big break. Michigan State got a big break that day. I'm not going to complain for it. Never apologize for a loss. But, I mean, I couldn't imagine trying to digest that one. I couldn't imagine it. I'm serious when I say that. I couldn't imagine that. If Michigan didn't pay for Underwood, would he be at LSU? 100%. 100%. Not 99. Not 98. 100%. They went over the top and they got him. I think I told you guys, I was doing their game. Todd, it was the day we got back from Switzerland. So, like, literally, I'm not joking. So it was the KLA championship. My day started in Geneva, then Amsterdam, then I landed in Detroit at about 3:30. I was home for about 15 minutes. I'm not joking. Jumped in my car and drove to Howell. I talked to somebody on staff at Belleville that day in late October. I'm not going to say who, but somebody on staff at Belleville assured me that Bryce was going to be going to LSU. I'm not going to share the whole conversation. It's not important anymore, but assured me he's going to LSU. And then if you remember, allegedly Brady got involved, allegedly Portnoy got involved, and within a couple weeks, he was going to Michigan. And you know what, Ray? I can't blame him. No way can I blame him. If somebody's dangling that kind of cash at you, good for you, kid. You get to stay at home, just a quick shot down 94, and you're at the University of Michigan, man. Yev said, I have a hard time being psyched for college football these days. I think it's a matter of time before a private equity firm buys it or turns it into essentially minor league football. Sport is dying. I hate to say it. I can't blame you. I'm not going to say you're wrong. It hasn't hit me yet. I always used to say nothing changed like the trajectory of college football from the early 90s to, the early part of the 21st century. It just skyrocketed. And now you think of how much college football's changed in the last 10 years. It's something totally different. I think for me, and if you want to call me an idiot, be my guest, I'm making the choice to just, as we were talking about earlier, do the whole purity. I'm on campus on a Saturday. This is cool. Hey, I know this team is better and they spent X amount of dollars more than my team. Maybe we can get them today. You know what I mean? Kind of like, if you're a Michigan State fan, that was a pretty cool era, right? Everybody telling you can't compete with Ohio State, you can't compete with Michigan. And, pretty cool era of Michigan State football, I'm fairly certain I died a bit because I didn't move for like 20 minutes. The S in ESPN does stand for Shawner, yes. ESPN, I'm convinced the security team would be keeping their eyes peeled for a guy coming in with an eye on his chest. Yes, I got you. Now, Rainerson has a dull, dreary gray field to match the mood of the greater Ypsilanti area. I haven't been out there to the factory. I haven't been out there in a long time. My college football Saturdays are busy because if I'm not at Wayne State or, someplace in the GLIAC or wherever they may be calling the game, I'm going to be at Michigan State, especially with my daughter there. A good way to get rid of wasps before I can get to the store, right outside my sliding door, dusted it with habanero spices. Todd, do you have any wasp? Jump in, Todd. Ladies and gentlemen, he doesn't talk much. There he is.
So I've seen this hack where you take a bowl and fill it with gasoline and then hold it up under the nest and they all fall and die in the gasoline.
Are you serious?
Yeah, I can't confirm, but I've seen that on the tubes of you.
Thank you. I was looking at the tubes of you today, Todd. We have 2 air conditioning units, and whenever the smaller one that goes upstairs runs too long, the battery always gets shot. And somebody on the tubes of you said, press the reset button. I couldn't find the reset button. I think it's underneath the blade, and I'm just not doing that. So I had to call family, and unfortunately, they're bombed right now. And they said, we'll see you next Wednesday. But we still have the other one going. It's the bigger one. It's just not as cool as I'd like it to be upstairs. How's that? Hey, if you're ready to take charge of your financial future, look no further than the Wealth Advantage Group, located in historic downtown Northville and owned by those 2 guys. I was watching the Michigan App State game with those 2 guys. True story. We went from the guy on the right, Jeff Husak, and I mocking the guy on the left, Mike Husak, to him turning around and saying, ha, 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 when Michigan made the big play to get in field goal position, to the block, to Mike falling to his hands and knees and weeping in front of us. That was that day. That's how long I've known those guys, even longer than that, and they've been helping my family the whole way. Won't you let them help your family as well? Whether you're saving for retirement, you're getting ready to sell a company, you're already in retirement. Doesn't matter where you are in your financial journey. These are guys that can help you through every step. They work with clients throughout all stages of life. They have clients in over 20 different states. The investment world is a complex one. If you're ready to start taking your finances more seriously, might be time to work with the experts. Reach out to the Wealth Advantage Group at 248-773-8574. Visit their website at www.thewealthadv.com. All right, I got to start getting to some of these over-unders, okay? Oh, boy, what happened to the Tigers? Oi! Wouldn't you know it? I was just pulling up some of the schedules, and I looked at that. Scooble gave up 4 runs in 2 innings? What's going on in this world? What kind of strange land are we in? My goodness gracious. Todd, I am going to start because you know as well as I do, there are certain people out there who will cry. I mean, legitimately cry if I start with anybody else. I can think of 2 people, Todd. When we start looking at the over-under, if I started with anybody not named Michigan, there are legitimately 2 people who would cry. You know it, and I know it. I bet you can think of their names, Todd, because I can. Sorry, I'm being swarmy right now. Shout out to all my fellow GVSU. SEC fans take it too far. We have lives outside of Saturdays. They're actually a little embarrassing in some places. Ohio State fans they're the worst I've seen. I'm not being funny. Best memory of Michigan football is beating the Bucks. Which year? They're student section or buy it. Awesome random seats. People give you crappy looks basically because it's stand and cheer, and that sucks but true as a Michigan fan. 100%. The people that give you dirty looks, it's like you're at a football game. Sit down, old man. I snuck into Michigan Stadium for the trouble with the snap game and blame myself. Believe in karma after that evening. Eric said, what do you think, Sean? Best memory? Best memory of what? Like of college football, period? For me, going to the Rose Bowl. Undoubtedly. Like that feeling, the fourth down play where they reviewed it, and anybody there would tell you he didn't get that. You saw it in real time. It was just delaying the inevitable. That was really awesome. That was really, really, really awesome. What do you think about Wisconsin this year? Fickle, got to have a year, or they may push him aside. I think I would be worried, Dave. I really would be. So let me do some of this. Hold on a second. Dave said, "Man, gasoline. I did habanero, and people said lemon. I'll do it tomorrow with spray." Sean is like Iran and Israel when it comes to fixing HVAC. Doesn't know what the bleep he is doing. 100%. I have no idea. I just know that the motor is running, but the fan is not. So on the tube of you, trademark Todd, that said that in all likelihood, the motor blew itself out because, again, we have two of them. The big one is for like the main floors, and then the little one is specifically for the upstairs. And anytime in the now 6 years that we've lived here that we've had the prolonged period of heat that we've had, the motor blows out. It's actually happened a couple times. I wish I knew how to fix it, but I don't. Eric said Michigan football the last 4 years. Eric, I'm not a Michigan fan. I don't know what to tell you. So I don't have a favorite moment. All right, from the last 4 years, how about Kenneth Walker III? That's my favorite moment. What do you expect me to say, dude? Come on. What do you expect me to say? I'm going to start with Michigan. Todd, were you a little surprised that their over-under was 8.5? And I know we talked about this a few weeks ago. Their schedule is cake, and I applaud them for it. You don't have to play a tough schedule anymore. I'm serious. Congratulations. At one point in time, it was in your best interest. You don't have to do it anymore. So why do it? Why even put Oklahoma on there? Now, I understand that Oklahoma isn't all that, and Venable's going to lose his job. There's another one. But come on. Here's Michigan's schedule. New Mexico at home, at Oklahoma, Central Michigan at home, at Nebraska, Wisconsin at home, at USC, Washington at home, at Michigan State, Purdue at home, at Northwestern, at Maryland, Ohio State at home. I know I said this a few weeks ago, and I'll say it again. Find me 2 losses. I'm not being funny. And yes, I know that a true freshman in all likelihood will be the starting quarterback. I'm not being funny. I don't know how they lose two games. I'm sure they will. But the 8.5? Todd, I don't know about you. I'm not a betting man. I'd bury the over. I'd bury the over. It's the muffler bearing Sean. Yeah, it's happened a couple times, Jason. Whatever. We have the other one, so it's just not as comfortable. Because you know me, man. I like it like the Arctic up there, man. I really do. Are we going to be favored by 30 or more versus Sparty? I don't think so. I don't think so. I mean, I could be wrong, but I don't think so. I think what Michigan is at the beginning of the year and what Michigan will be at playoff time will be two different things. I think they could be pretty dangerous come playoff time. I'm not saying going to win the Natty, and I'm sure some of you will yell at me for that. But I'm a firm believer in you can only talk about youth for so long. At some point in time during the course of the season, they've got 8 first-time starters. Well, if you're still having that conversation in week 8 or 9 of the year, that's not applicable anymore because they just got 8 or 9 games. Oh, don't forget they have a true freshman. Yes, at the beginning of the year, that's a huge factor, okay? But towards the end of the year, he's got almost a full season under his belt, right? So I don't know. I look at that. I look at that schedule, guys. I'm not being funny. I think they're going 10-2. I really, truly think they're going 10-2. Michigan State's over under for what it is worth is 5.5. I know I've said this before, and I'll say it again. I'm having a difficult time finding 6 wins. I hope I'm wrong, but I'm having a difficult time finding 6 wins. Western Michigan at home should be one of them. I think they exact revenge on BC at home. Youngstown State, they're 3-0. At USC, they should win. God forbid they're 4-0, right? Then you got at Nebraska. They're not going to win at Nebraska. Maybe you beat UCLA at home. At Indiana, probably not. You're not beating Michigan. You're probably not going to go beat the Fighting Flexters. You're not going to beat Penn State. At Iowa, which Ferentz team is this? And then they should win that game against Maryland. So, to me, you're right on that bubble of 5 or 6. And I hope I can take my daughter to a bowl game finally, because I promised her when she started at State, Dad's going to take you wherever the bowl game is. We're going. We're making a trip out of it. I don't care if it's a Pinstripe Bowl at Yankee Stadium. We'll go. I wouldn't touch the 5.5. Wouldn't touch it. I think it's right smack dab in the middle. I really, truly do. I think it's right in that area. It's too close to call. The Michigan thing, well over 8.5 in my mind. Well over 8.5. Can a true freshman really be any worse than what they had last year? No. But I also think you're not going 7-5 either. You know what I'm saying? No. Nope. Todd, you're saying 7 wins for Michigan State? Oh, I hope you're right. All right, so I got 10 for Michigan. I got 7 or you have 7. You know what? Allow me to be a slapdick. 6-6. Hooray. We're going to a bowl game. Hooray. By the way, don't call me a hypocrite. Do not call me a hypocrite. I do not believe that 6-6 should get you into a bowl game. Will I go to said bowl game? Absolutely. But I do not believe that doing the bare minimum. I do not believe doing the bare minimum gets you in. All right, so I got 10 for Michigan, 6 for Michigan State. Ohio State's over-under is 10.5. Have you guys seen their schedule? Ready? They got Texas that first Saturday, which is awesome. My pants will be down around my ankles. How cool is that? High noon. Ohio State, Texas. Cool. Grambling, the Bobcats from Ohio, at Washington, Minnesota, at Illinois, at Wisconsin, Penn State at home, at Purdue, UCLA at home, Rutgers at home, at Michigan. I'd take under 10.5. Correct me if I'm wrong, but when you expect the least from MSU, they tend to surprise you. Unfortunately, we're back to that era now. I thought Mark D'Antonio got rid of that era. I did. I'll take the under 10.5 for Ohio State. I think they go 10-2. I'll take the under. I don't feel real confident about it, but if I have to. Penn State is interesting again. Shout out to my boy, Tom. Tom is the resident Penn State fan. Now, you want to talk about an absolute nothing out of conference schedule. You ready for this? First of all, Penn State's over-under is 10.5. They have Nevada at home, Florida International at home, Villanova at home. Then their first conference game is Oregon at home. They don't hit the road until October 4th at UCLA. Northwestern at home, at Iowa, at Ohio State, Indiana at home, at Michigan State, Nebraska at home, Rutgers. You guys, Penn State's going to the playoff again. They are. Now, here's going to be the interesting thing. Hold on just a second. If we're trending Michigan towards 10, if we're trending Ohio State towards 10, if we're trending Penn State towards 10, this was the reason why I thought Michigan would be out last year. A loss to, say, Texas is almost like an elimination game. If all things are considered equal, let's say you're a 3-loss team. Well, wait a second. Can we legitimately take Michigan over Texas if Texas beat them head-to-head? That might be the scenario with some of these Charmony soft out-of-conference schedules this year. Seriously. How did Penn State fare against Ohio State? How did Ohio State fare against Penn State and Michigan? Which leads me to Oregon. So there are 3 teams in the Big that have over-under of 10.5. Michigan is at 8.5, but in my mind, I'm sorry, anybody trying to turn the Oklahoma game into something, you just haven't been paying attention. Oklahoma's just not good. Are you ready for Oregon? Montana State, Oklahoma State at home, at Northwestern, Oregon State at home, at Penn State, Indiana, Rutgers, Wisconsin at home, at Iowa, Minnesota, USC, Washington. Now, you understand there's a method to my madness, right? Franklin will go Franklin, and that's inevitable. And you know what, Jason, though? You're right. You can go Franklin and still make the playoff. That's how bleeped up it is right now. Like they did last year. You're 100% right. It's crazy. So let me ask you this. Do you think all 4 of them get in the playoff? Michigan, Ohio State, Penn State, and Oregon? I do not. Who's going to be the odd man out? That's going to be the interesting story. That, to me, that's where the intrigue starts. You know what I'm saying? Did you know that thousands of Metro Detroiters have already called Legacy Partners to get help with their home and auto insurance? Our friends at Legacy are one of Southeast Michigan's top independent insurance agents. Why? They are full service. They will contact you. No, I'm serious. They call you to tell you about changes and make you aware of changes and then help you save money at the same time. They ask the right questions to get the right coverage put in place. Chances are you haven't checked your policies. We didn't. And you're probably paying too much. We were. Enter Legacy Partners. What are you waiting for? Give them a chance to help with your home, your cars, life insurance, Medicare enrollment, or your business insurance needs. Call them today at 586-209-4106 or visit legacypartnersins.com to get started with your new quotes. PSU feels like 9 wins to me. I'm smashing the under with losses to Oregon, Ohio State, and Indiana. If that happens, they might be the out. They might be the out right there. If you have 3 teams at 10-2 and the others at 9-3, bye-bye. And I think that goes back to what I was saying a few minutes ago, Todd. Oregon, OSU, those are like almost double elimination games. Oh, look at that. David, Penn State, I'm taking to go to the national championship. Wouldn't that be something? So somebody asked earlier, who will be this year's Indiana? Well, will you hold on just a second? Can I present to you Indiana's schedule? Are you ready for this? Hosting Old Dominion, hosting Kennesaw State, hosting Indiana State, hosting Illinois, at Iowa, at Oregon, Michigan State at home, UCLA at home, at Maryland, at Penn State, Wisconsin, at Purdue. A loss at Oregon, a loss at Penn State. Could they run? Could they run the table the rest of the way? Could they? All right. Now, can I present one more? And this is the over-under I love the most in the Big Ten, by the way. You guys, the Ferentz is a real thing. You know, where out of nowhere, he has an unbelievable year where you know it's fraudulent, but Kirk Ferentz in Iowa is there at the end of the season, right? You want to hear this schedule? Albany at Iowa State, hosting UMass, at Rutgers, Indiana at home, at Wisconsin, Penn State at home, Oregon at home. Might we be in for the Ferentz? I'm not going that far, but you know what I will say? I have seen Iowa's over-under at 6.5, and I even saw it at 5.5 on FanDuel. Okay, I would be all over that. All right, stick with me for just a second. And I almost feel like I'm stealing Mike and Blake's thunder, Todd. But I was in the mood. Albany, win. UMass, win. At Rutgers, probably a win, but just for shits and giggles, I won't do it, okay? Minnesota at home, Michigan State, at USC. I love that over. I do. I love that over. And you know, every year they end up winning some game crappily, too. I love that. 5.5, I love that over. Love it. Which means I would bet the farm on the under. I would just bet the farm on the under. Hold on a second. A couple more comments are coming in. Sorry about that. Franklin is a more successful Hulk. Michigan didn't pass the ball a single time in the second half of a game and won. I remember that. That was great. Brad Banks' year, guy was a stud. It looks like somebody's nightmare. I feel like this could be a really fun year in the Big with a couple of favorites stubbing their toe against an inferior opponent and having 5-6 teams at 9 or 10 wins. Todd, I'm with you. We like legitimately. And I think especially with the soft out of conference schedules, all right, then we start to play the elimination game, right? And this is the thing we're all guilty of this in a certain regard. We have to remember, while we're putting this team in the playoff and this team in the playoff and that team in the playoff, there are other conferences. There is an SEC. There is an at-large. There is always the cute little story from some corner of the world, right? That's the kind of stuff that we have to remember while we're putting in 4 different teams. It's not going to work that way. Wait, what, if anything, is the fallout from potential enforcement against Michigan? Part of me is thinking nothing's going to happen, but I really don't know. It's taken too long to investigate. I don't think it'll be anything major. I really, truly don't. This is how the NC2A operates, though. And it's, I know we've talked so much about, like, again, this is, you know how this routine goes. All right. I don't have any time for the people that tell me that wasn't Connor Stallions on the sideline. Like, and Todd, you know, we've had people like that get mad at us in these very chats. I don't have any time for, we know what happened, but I don't think it'll be anything big. I truly don't. I don't think it'll be anything big. the NC2A usually when they have the sit down that they did in early June, it usually is a period time after that where they make their announcements. I had somebody tell me that there is going to be the lack of institutional control thing thrown out there. Now, again, do I know that to be 100% sure? No. But this person's, if anybody had an idea, he might. But what does that mean? I mean, honestly, how much power does the NC2A have left? I'm not being funny. I don't think there's going to be anything. I don't think there's going to be anything serious, though. I am going to get a Return to Glory shirt. I've done that, gosh, Jason, I think since 2004. It wasn't Stallions. It was the One-Armed Man. Jason, you've seen some of those conversations I've had with people. Blah, 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 blah. Like, come on, man. Guy was on the sideline and looking like Bobby Valentine up at Michigan State. Come on, stop it. Yeah, while we're rushing to put 4 teams in the playoff, guys, think again. It isn't gonna work like that. It is not gonna work like that. Hey, when it comes time to getting yourself a house, whether you're buying or selling, you need to contact the right agent. Who do we recommend? That lady right there, Lindsay Broadwell. Your house is probably the biggest investment you'll ever make, and that's why you need a pro. Lindsay grew up in the area. She's expanded her team all over Southeast Michigan. An expert in all facets of the business. When it's time to move, our friend Lindsay and her team will make sure you get the most out of your house and everything goes smoothly when finding your new home. Buyer, seller, even first-time buyer, doesn't matter. Make sure you contact Lindsay at BroadwellHomes.com. She'll help you with everything from start to close. Licensed realtor at Real Broker LLC. Start your search today at BroadwellHomes.com. I can do this every day for the next 60 days until college football starts, you guys. Like, seriously, you guys know how I am. Eric, thank you. He said, next show, Todd will reconvene tomorrow. I'm going to see if Mike and I can talk some NHL pre-draft and pre-July 1. This will be an interesting July 1. Not as interesting as when we were, 10 years ago or whatever. But I think more interesting than the last few years as well. So maybe Mike and I will do something Thursday. I'll do something dumb tomorrow at 8 o'clock. Todd, thank you. Thanks to all you guys. God bless you. I need a dip really badly. It's been 58 minutes. I'm dying. See you. Bye.
Off the Air with Sean Baligian. Executive produced by Sean Baligian and Todd Losey. Theme song, incidental music, and related sound effects are from Play It Loud by Jam Studio. Engineering, mixing, and graphic design support provided by the Unsyndicated Podcast team. Don't forget to like and subscribe on all your favorite channels. While you're there, be sure to rate and review the podcast. Got something to say to Sean? Call the Unsyndicated hotline at 248-237-3257.